This was the supercar killer back then in the 90s, making over 320 horsepower, putting itself well within the leagues of Ferraris and Porsches. To put things into perspective for you, a Ferrari 348 at that time makes about 320 horsepower, a Porsche Carrera RS 300 horsepower. So this one, the Supra, was a big deal, and I can't believe I'm driving a JDM legend 25 years later. Meet your childhood Japanese porn star, the 4th generation A80 Toyota Supra. And it is a manual! This particular car is quite a rare gem because it is kept pretty much stock. Only the seats, some meters and the exhaust are modified. Everything else original. It is almost impossible to find an untouched original Supra because it is one of the favourites for tuners to work on the very versatile block, the legendary 2JZ engine. Some even managed to squeeze out over 1000 horsepower. This engine is really something. It is eager, it wants you to just keep going, keep revving it, and it pulls! I can see why this is a living legend. It was made even popular through the Fast and Furious movie. It is so highly sorted now. A good condition manual Supra such as this one can fetch up to 300,000 ringgit, and you have to buy it with cash. Or you would rather buy a brand new one. Yes! You can still own a piece of this legendary nameplate and still get the bank loan. With this, the 5th generation A90 Toyota GR Supra. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Is this still a JDM? It's not built in Japan anymore. It comes from Austria. Well, does it even deserve the Supra badge? Have you realized I've not mentioned the other car brands so far? I'm gonna be the first reviewer to never mention the 3-letter word that starts with a B and ends with a W. It is no secret that this car was co-developed together with the Z4, but somewhat it attracts a group of torch-wielding purists. Well, we go to that later. But first, the exterior. The FD1 concept car, which this was based on, looked really awesome and it got us all excited. And then came the end results. As usual, it gets lost in translation and it loses the appeal along the way. In real life, this looks really good as compared to photos. It looks nothing like the Z4, thankfully, and it is somewhat smaller than we expected. The front door, it might take some time for you to get used to it. The headlights, which have a slight resemblance to the predecessors, are LEDs and it's got a pair of very angry DRLs. Now next up, it is something that I need to address. Yes, you're right, the fake vents. Toyota said if they were to leave this air intake wide open, it will then cool down the engine way too much. Ooh, huge problem which they have to solve, which is by blocking part of it. The slits on the sides, the hood, the door and the rear bumper, they're actually plastic covers that you can remove and you can cut through holes to further improve the aerodynamics. So essentially what Toyota is trying to tell you is, if you want to improve the car further, you can, but just do it yourself. The rest of the aerodynamics are actually functional. I especially like this double bubble roof. It looks great for added downforce. I love these sets of rims. They have to be one of the best looking ones out there. 19-inch in size, wrapped in Michelin Pilot Super Sports, specially made for that, other brand. So the fronts are 255/35, while the rear slightly wider at 275/35. Now the side profile looks amazing. Long front hood and the way it flows towards the rear. You can tell this is a very nimble car. Just check out how the window frame is crafted out. Oh, by the way, did you know that this Supra has shorter wheelbase as compared to its little brother, the 86? Now you know. It gets better towards the rear. The finest looking ass in town. Yay or nay? Vote at the top right hand corner. This whole thing here is somewhat like a bold design approach. It looks like a melting face, yet very seductive looking, with the taillights design and this very aggressive looking ducktail lid that looks more like a platypus tail now. This F1 inspired light is actually the reverse light, and the size of the dual tailpipes, they are just right. Don't you think so? Oh, by the way, this car is actually Toyota's first global GR model, hence the badge right here. GR stands for Gazoo Racing, which is Toyota's performance division, just like AMG for Mercedes-Benz and M for you know who. So the best angle to actually admire this car is actually from right about where you are. Nice, isn't it? Well, in here, you can't expect a lot in terms of space because, as you can see, there's actually not much. But in a way, it makes you feel nicely cocooned in here in these very comfortable and supportive sport seats. Overall feel, it actually feels premium and oddly familiar. Well, because... okay, I give up. BMW, right? Because this car is co-developed with BMW, most of the things in here are sourced from them. For example, the head unit, the buttons, the iDrive controller, and even the seats. I'm not quite sure about the shifter and the steering wheel though. If you guys know which BMW models these come from, do let us know in the comment section down below. Now, the steering wheel. It is positioned slightly upright, similar to the 86 to give you the more sportier in-control feel. But I don't quite like the design, especially this part over here. Why do it this way and cover it up? It just makes it chunky for no reason. And it is a bit thin to hold, but what's nice are the pedal shifters. Now, my favorite, the meter cluster. It is a refreshing new look for a modern digital display. It even has a shift indicator right in the middle of the rev counter, which is a very nice touch. The head unit runs on Toyota Live Cockpit Professional System. Very familiar looking. It is a touchscreen, or you can control it via the iDrive controller down here. Very easy to use. Moving along, I like how these air vents are designed with this aluminium looking accent across the dashboard. Down here, very familiar looking buttons and controls. You get wireless charging with this canopy looking cover to make sure that your phone don't slide around or bounce off. This entire center console, I love how it looks with this carbon fiber design. You get a large sport button to toggle between normal and sport driving mode. If you need more space, you can have the entire boot from here. Yeah, but isn't it kind of weird to have this wide opening to access the boot from the front? Because if you were to slam on the brakes, everything in here will be emptied out into the front cabin. Now let's find out how spacious this extra compartment is. It is actually not bad, just not deep enough. Now let's move on to the things that I don't like about this car. There is no boot release button anywhere to be found near here. So the only way to open this lid is through the button at the driver's door or this key over here. Yeah, this is a BMW key. What's up with this? Toyota Supra. We love the Supra font, but this, isn't it a bit redundant? Surat khabar lama. Old newspaper. Sao cầu báo chí. Siêu củ bô chua. Well, just in case you don't get it, it is the puny sounding horn. Storage compartment in this car is almost non-existent. The glove box is so small, there's no compartment under the center armrest, and this one over here, it is annoyingly shallow. Well, there are some things that I actually quite like. The door opens really wide, making it easy for you and your passenger to get in and out. You get this extra headroom thanks to the double bubble roof, which can accommodate your helmet when you go for your track days. I actually quite like the opening to the boot because you can then fit really long things. So before you gather all your mates and threaten to burn down Toyota's HQ, let's just get this straight. Toyota needed a new straight-six engine in order to bring back the Supra badge. But in order to build an engine that meets regulation, it will cost a lot of money. So it is either Toyota just put the Supra badge back into their vault, or they just ask from somebody. Well, from somebody who knows how to build really good straight sixes. BMW. And why would anyone complain about that? Shouldn't we be celebrating? We get to have the Supra back, and BMW gets to learn how to make buttons and knobs that won't melt in our climate. Win-win. They work hand in hand together from the start to co-develop the Z4 and the Supra. So don't worry, this is actually not a rebadge. In fact, it looks better than the Z4 and it comes to the roof. That itself is worth 1 brownie point. Toyota is so proud of it, they don't even bother to cover up BMW logos on all the parts. Because after all the hardwares are put together, the tuning and the calibration are all done by Toyota. Tested and approved by the President and CEO of Toyota Motor Corporation, Akio Toyoda-san. Roaring under the hood is BMW's B58 3-litre inline-6 twin-scroll turbocharged engine that is paired to the 8-speed ZF automatic gearbox, powering the rear wheels. So it makes 340 horsepower and 500 Nm of torque. It goes from 0 to 100 in just 4.3 seconds. Top speed is limited to 250 km per hour. It's the same engine that BMW uses in the M40i models. So after almost 3 decades, only 20 horsepower increase, that's less than 1 horsepower per year. Supra's old nemesis, the Skyline, which is now the R35 GTR, makes up to 600 horsepower. Same goes to the Honda NSX, which is now has become a hybrid supercar. I'm just guessing that Toyota didn't get the memo, maybe? However, there are rumors to say that Toyota actually tuned this car up a bit more to produce a bit more horsepower as compared to what's printed on a brochure. So we strapped this car down to a dyno to find out if that's actually true. From the dyno run, we did 332 PS on wheels. And what's the output on crank? Well, you can watch the full dyno video to find out more. So now, how does it drive? The sitting position is on point. And I also like how it has this focus view that's tapered forward due to how the windows are designed. It has this very racy feel and I like that. The initial driving feel from the start, as cliche as it might sound, it drives like a BMW. Are you surprised? But is it really a bad thing though? Because you can tell that this car is very well put together. It has this refined and premium feel to it. The way it gets off the line once you slam your foot on the throttle from 0 to 100 to 200, it is so calm and composed. You get very little body movement in the cabin, very minimal inertia. The response of this thing, especially after you put it on sport mode, it is pretty much instantaneous. As and when you want it, it delivers. The combination of the engine and the gearbox just somewhat feels right. I wouldn't trade the 8-speed ZF automatic gearbox with a dual clutch though, because this is a very strong gearbox and it has character, but not as much character as a manual though. Yeah, let's just not go there because this car doesn't come with the manual variant. In here, you get to enjoy the sound of the straight 6. It is so good. And on sport mode, rev it high up and lift off. The burble at the end of it, oh, it's so addictive. Whenever you're really gunning it, this thing will just keep pulling. The way it delivers power, the quick gear changes, you get this very rapid response. So this rapid response together with the usable amount of power, that I think is the beauty of this car. You get to enjoy all of it. On top of that, it is agile as well. You get this 50-50 weight distribution. The body is said to be as stiff as the Lexus LFA supercar, and Toyota said they managed to achieve this golden ratio between the wheelbase and the track width at 1.55 to 1. Just throw it around bends and it will just dance around them. Pretty flat as well at high speed. You get this very nice balance, very nice feeling as the car pivots around your hip. It's that good! Oh, by the way, it is fitted with electronic LSD, which means it can do this. Insert the iPhone Kong video. Yeah. I did that. The steering feels sharp and precise with a very nice weight to it. The brakes though, I think that's the most Toyota thing about this car. It is slightly squeezy. At least not the ride, because the adaptive dampers feel a bit sportier even on normal mode, but it has this very expensive damping feel to it. So I guess eventually I have to come to this question. Does this car actually deserve the Supra badge? The hype is real, hence the expectation to how this new Supra should live up to the A80 has blown out of proportion. Partly because due to silver screen influence, but mainly because it is an icon in the JDM tuning scene. You can tell that Toyota is leaving it wide open for tuners and enthusiasts to still mod it, tune it up. Toyota encourages that because that's the Supra way. I'm pretty sure you will start to see souped up Supras roaming the streets very soon. Get it? Souped up Supra. Yeah, right? The A80 and the A90 are two very different cars from two very different generations. Surely there are like 3 decades of technology in between them, so things just have to move on. The predecessor was originally meant to be a powerful GT with strong pulling power from the engine. It's great on a straight line, but around bends it feels a bit heavier. But the way it engages you, the way you have to work with it together, that feeling is pretty amazing. Because the A90 is so clever and capable now, it is effortless, making it less engaging. But it now comes as a more complete package. Impressive engine and gearbox combo mated to a dream chassis, making it fast and agile. It offers rapid performance for everyday modern world use. If Toyota were to slap a different badge on this car, nobody could actually tell this is related to the Supra. That's how different this new car is to the old one. Does this make purists like you guys mad? I've spoken to a few A80 owners. I've let them try this new car. They came back with a big smile. They liked it, they approved it, but they just wouldn't want to swap their cars with this new one. There's just something about this Mark IV A80 Supra that the A90 5th generation Supra doesn't have. Probably it's the 2JZ. Or would you be happier if one day there is a GR Supra M with 500 horsepower? Think about it. So, is this car for you? Well, if you have always been part of this JDM cult, with Supra topping your fantasy list, and you don't mind refinements and premium touches, then yes, because now is the time. But if you are the kind that would flip because the beautiful geisha you just married turned out to be a German MMA fighter, then probably not. If you want to find out more about this all-new 5th generation A90 Toyota GR Supra, do log on to AutoBuzz.my. If you like our video, do give us a thumbs up, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the logo or the subscribe button below. And please remember to click on the notification bell to get the latest updates whenever we upload a new video. Thank you for watching. Sayonara. Or rather, auf Wiedersehen. Nay, click your top right hand corner of the dual. 19-inch wrapped in Michelin Super Cheaper pot. One time. Love the Supra front, it's awesome. Front. Love the Supra front, it looks awesome. Front. Did I say front again?
Yes.
Front. Frickin' hell.